Alright guys, are you psyched? I know I'm psyched, because I get to review one of the best reviewed movies of the year, Dark Phoenix. I mean, critics have been fawning over this. Fans have been lining out the door waiting for this movie to come out, and I give it... What? Nobody's excited for this? It got horrible critic scores? Wait, how low on Rotten Tomatoes? Huh. Really? Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to my review for Dark Phoenix. This movie was directed by Simon Kinberg, and for all intents and purposes, this is the last X-Men movie under the Fox banner. And before you all say, but what about New Mutants? That movie's pretty much going to be in developmental purgatory until further notice. The X-Men are back. This time they have to deal with a conflict from within when one of their members, Jean Grey, played by Sophie Turner, becomes infected with what appears to be a solar flare, but it turns out to be a power beyond any of their understanding. And through a combination of confusion and secrets that were long since buried, stuff goes wrong, really wrong. And the X-Men have to make tough decisions in order to deal with this situation. To hear about the story of how this movie was made is like hearing just a story of just one horror after another. I mean, the endless stories about casting frustrations and the reshoots because the ending was way too similar to a certain comic book movie that came out this year. You might have heard of it. Simply put, no one was excited for this because everyone knows that everything involving X-Men and Fox is pretty much one big crap show, and everyone's just crossing their fingers hoping that Kevin Feige and his golden touch will take X-Men to the glory that they should have had from the very beginning. Simply put, I was expecting the worst, and I walked out of the theater and I sat down and I said, you know what? I liked that. Do not get me wrong. Dark Phoenix is not a perfect movie. It is no Logan. It is no X-Men Days of Future Past. But it is not worthy of all of the crap that has been shoveled on top of it. It has problems for certain. But I think that Simon Kinberg and the creative forces behind this movie were trying to put some kind of concerted effort into making this movie as good as possible. And they succeeded in a lot of aspects and failed in others, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to that. But for right now, let's talk about the good. All of the actors in this movie are trying, with the exception of Jennifer Lawrence, though I think she's probably in 2, maybe 2.5 scenes, but the rest of the actors all do a great job. I mean, I have yet to see a bad performance from James McAvoy, from Michael Fassbender. Even Sophie Turner I thought was better here than she was in X-Men Apocalypse. And you name it, and everyone was giving their all. I can go off on more than one hand of scenes that actually got me. Like, not like to the point of tears, but I sat back and I'm like, wow, that was good. I can go off of one hand of how many scenes really, really affected me. There were a lot of quiet moments where the actors were just allowed to do their thing, and it really shows because there were some really quality moments in this. Also, you have the Hans Zimmer score, and I don't think that guy has ever made a bad score in his entire life, and he did not stop now. I think he took some of the bits from other X-Men movies and he mutated it into his own form, which, if he did that, that is awesome. But I just love the music in this. It was just all very in tune. You see what I did there? And even the action was filmed very well. There were some kick-ass moments in this where I'm like, wow, they actually went all out with this. Maybe it's because, okay, this is going to be the last movie, we might as well just take the gloves off now. But the fact remains that for a PG-13 movie, they really pushed the envelope. The one thing I really didn't like about the movie was Jessica Chastain. Don't get me wrong, I think Jessica Chastain is a very talented actress. She was awesome in Zero Dark 30, and I cannot wait to see her in It Chapter 2. But she just played a painfully generic villain. Kind of like Oscar Isaac was in the last movie. They go into detail as to what her motivations are, but it's been done before. Not to mention that Chastain gave a very wooden performance this time around, and so it clearly shows. I think if she had been built up over in a post-credits scene like what X-Men Days of Future Past did for X-Men Apocalypse, I think she would have been much better received, but as a whole, I just wasn't a fan. My other big problem with the movie falls with the continuity. And really, that's not the movie's fault. This continuity has been messed around with so much that it's not even recognizable anymore. Like, decisions were made, even in the first movie, that make no sense even today. So, it's just a matter of stuff just was out of the hands of the creator. But in the end, I didn't think Dark Phoenix was as terrible as everyone thinks it is. I have seen far worse comic book movies out there than this one. I'm going to give this one a good rating. I think that there's a lot to enjoy about this. I think Fox's past mistakes have caught up to them, and so this has led to people just being like, you know what, this movie is just terrible. I don't think that this movie is as bad as they've made it out to be. I think it's got a lot of good stuff in it, but on the whole, it's just there. It's not terrible, it's not amazing, it's just there. But that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, and if you'd like to subscribe, click the big red subscribe button below. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.